Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to another episode of Illustration Masterclass. Today we are looking at Peter Faustino, and we're going to look at some of these images, and I've got a few of them that I want to break down, and then some that we're just going to kind of flip through and just check them out and just appreciate the awesome art. Right from the get-go, whenever I look at this guy's work, he's got a pretty cool style. It's kind of hard to put my finger on exactly what it is, other than when we get into the illustrations, you'll see that to me, he's really captured the feeling of like what it feels like to be in a video game more than pretty much any illustrator I've come across, right? But here we've got something that's very simple, and it really shows the power of strong design decisions and strong design sensibilities, right? So there's a number of different things going on. For one thing, he's got everything in one or actually three values, right? He's got the black here, he's got the white here, which is at our focal point, and then he's got these grayed out. I guess you could actually say there's four. I guess you could say this is four, right? But he's got these different values here laid out, and he's got one for each individual object, or I guess you could say element in the illustration. Then he's got these repeating shapes, like he's got these circles, these kind of like this sort of thing going on, and then he's also got these kind of 3 or 4 lines at a time, and he's using that as a way to, show the hair, show the way the hair moves around, and it looks like he's got like this scarf, which I think is really cool, right? Like he's moving these lines, these scarf lines, into the lines of her hair. I think that's really, really dope. And you can also see that he doesn't finish the lines that separate the two characters. Instead, he's just got like these little highlights, right? Like right here, he's got this, and then here and here, just to show overlap. But then everywhere else, the faces just kind of meld together to where if I draw it like that, it doesn't even look like there's another person there until I remove that, right? I think that's really cool. I really like that style. And I love the way that he does this kind of diagonal thing with putting her arm up here and his arm down there. And so you kind of get this idea that they are two bodies meshed together. And then, of course, we see these same repeating elements here, right? We see the same thing. And we see some of them are curved and some of them are going down. And then he's got this sort of thing. And then he's doing it again here, right? And he's kind of repeating this. But it doesn't look like it's not exact, right? Like if he wanted to make a tile of this, then he would have done the exact same thing all the way down. But he doesn't. He varies it up a little bit. And it gives it a lot of variety, right? But he doesn't do anything to pull the values away from he doesn't do anything with the background to make the values too much of a contrast. Because like if he had put like a black here, then we would start to get confused about what is the foreground and what is the background, right? And we would get confused about what it is that's going on. Really cool stuff. All right, so let's go on to the next illustration. Yeah, I really dig this guy's very minimalistic approach to it. He really shows that in order to create like a captivating image, you don't even really need a lot of shading. You don't, I mean, these are all very flat colors, right? He's got like just a couple of values, and he really has a strong understanding. Like, it's so interesting. Like, there's more values and there's more going on in this cat in a lot of ways than there is on her face, which is interesting, right? It's creating that contrast between the two. But notice how he's such a master with the gesture that it really feels like she's about to step forward, or she just got done stepping forward, or I kind of have this feeling when I see it like she's taking a break from going on a run. And then we have this nice kind of implied diagonal that, of course, it intersects. It doesn't completely intersect, but it cuts right across where it is that she is. And then we have this kind of shape here, right? And then, of course, he's got this kind of shadow shape that's creating this nice little container for where it is that he's putting her, right? And I bet if you really look at this and you look at it in terms of going straight up and down, well, I guess she does fall right in the middle. Typically, images that do stuff where the subject falls right in the middle, sometimes they can look kind of boring, but this guy pulls it off, and then he's got this he's got this dark range of values in the foreground, and then he's given us some very light values in the background, and so he's kind of implying that there's a lot of sunlight back here, right? And that's creating this nice space for her to rest on. Again, it's super dope. Great understanding of design, especially when you look at something like this house right here. Like he's got this kind of triangle shape, and then he's got this sort of thing going on, right? And then he mixes it up, right? He mixes it up with these different squares that are of slightly different shapes, right? Or slightly different sizes. You've kind of got this small one here, this small one here, small one here, and then you've got this big one here, right? And you can see that repeating throughout the whole piece, is playing with this idea of big, medium, and small. All right, like he's using that in order to give us the sense of depth with this kind of thing going like this, right? And then we get further back here, and it's technically smaller in the sense that it's smaller on the image, but of course he's creating depth with that. And then he's able to create more scale with this image back here, which is pretty cool, right? He's able to create more scale. And nice perspective here. It's kind of circling up this rock, this kind of rock cliff that our figure is standing on. And then of course we have our main subject, which is this sheep herder, right? This sheep herder. And as the sheep get further away from us, they lose detail to where they're basically all they are is a square with one value for the shadow and then one for the face. And then of course a shadow on the ground. It feels very abstract. It feels fresh. It feels cool. It feels like this could have been done traditionally, but I feel like it's probably digital. I didn't check and see. As usual, I include links to this guy's work in the description, so if you're really interested in knowing what tools he uses, you can go and you can look at that yourself. Yeah, so this is getting into the space where it starts to feel like a video game. The stuff that he does starts to feel like a video game. So this is kind of like one of his preliminary sketches, and immediately what draws my attention is just the way it is that everything in this version of it is well organized. And you'll see what it is that I mean when I go to the next page. I mean, he basically has, we can count the values. He's got one here, he's got one here, he's got one here, and then he's kind of got this mix of different values back here, right? But in order to create this, I mean, he's basically using three values, and that you want to be conscious about this. And when you do thumbnails, when you do thumbnail sketches, which we'll look at some of his thumbnail sketches here in a minute, but when you do thumbnail sketches of your work, it's very helpful to do that, because then you can kind of create these really cool and interesting shapes like what we're seeing here with just the shadows and just the way it is that everything overlaps, right? He's got like all this negative space. You see how he's doing the same thing that he was doing on the faces, where it's like you have the shadows, that's where they meet. Oh man, I love that effect. But then if there's no shadow, then it's almost like the light that's hitting it is kind of blurring out the line that would be right here, right? It's very stylistic. It's very stylish, right? It's very stylish. And boom, look at that. Again, we go back and we look here at this whole area here, and we can see that same style is carried through. And it really goes to show, I mean, he probably was able to go through an image like this fairly quickly once it is that he had the base values down, right? Once he had the base values down and he knew how it is that he wanted the image to flow, then it wasn't really that difficult. And we start to notice other things too that was very obvious in the sketch, but they're even more obvious now. So we kind of have this diagonal thing going on, right? That's interesting. You could almost say it's something like this, right? That's really interesting. You know, you can almost make diagonal lines going from this shadow shape over here, and you could carry it through to the other side of this image, and it would connect you to this other space over here, right? Which is where it is that he's running to. Stuff like this, I mean, it's so subtle, but you can immediately tell how much of a difference it is that it makes in somebody's work. And then there's another one right there, right? Very cool. So we're almost to his thumbnails and we're almost done with this. So this one, man, he said on his posting that he wanted to create the feeling of what it was like to play Zelda on his Nintendo 64. And I think he totally did it. You know, like I love this kind of low resolution, kind of blocky style that he has to the environment, where it feels like the environment is almost buffering or something. And then of course you can see your little character here. We're about to wrap it up with these thumbnails. So if you just look at something like this, and if you try to, the next time you do an illustration, which I'm going to do like a course where I'm going to walk through like my process for doing illustrations and walk through the whole process of making really compelling images. So if you're interested in something like that, please make sure to subscribe to my channel and give me a like and let me know in the comments. But when you create an image, if you can make it readable as a thumbnail and in a very simple way, then that's going to carry over into the finished piece. And you can see that in this work. I mean, like, the stuff that he's doing is not that complicated to do, but he has such a great sense of design. He's playing with scale, right? He's playing with big shapes, medium shapes, and little shapes. You know, he's got a big one here, he's got a medium, and he's got a small one here, right? Medium, small, right? I guess this would be more like a big shape, and this would be more like medium, and that would be a big one, and then small, 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 right? And it's interesting, he also does the same thing with the environment, right? Like you can almost turn this on its side, and you can see similar geometrical shapes going on here, right? And like I've said before, you know, copying something like this, going through if you want to create something that looks similar to this, with this kind of, I guess you could say, I don't even know what it is that you would call something like this, but doing studies of illustrations that you really love, and just doing quick sketches, I mean, make them look good, but either traditional or digital, you'll start to pick up on so many different things that other artists do, and it'll just carry over naturally into your work. I mean, it really is the most important thing to learn. But anyways, guys, I hope you found this video to be helpful. As usual, I do these every week, and I really enjoy doing them. If you'd like to let me know what you think about these videos, it would definitely help me with continuing to post these videos. If you're interested in seeing some of my work, I got a new art shop that's open. It's down in the link below. It's my Etsy shop. And yeah, guys, feel free to check out the other stuff it is that I have here, and I've got a Patreon as well if you'd like to see some other exclusive stuff. All right, guys, take care.